Tara, how are you doing? Welcome to Filme Shilmy.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm well. I hope you are as well.
I am. Well, look, Tara, Egg Villain Returns, it looks really interesting and it aims to show women fighting back the stalkers and how every character is grey. Having done a film recently like Tara, which again shows you in a very grey light, which aspects do you reflect on to present such roles?
Well, to be very honest with you, I think there's a huge dearth of um, characters that are written for women that have gray shades or whatever you'd like to call them. I think it's a part and parcel of life to have gray shades. All of us have them. We tend to not really depict them when it comes to female characters in Hindi films. So I think both, and I can speak for Disha on this because we've spoken about this multiple times. It's wonderful to be able to finally get that opportunity. I did, like you said, have that opportunity in my film Tadap as well to portray a very villainous young woman, which is very exciting and very fun because it can get quite boring to play your run-of-the-mill heroine in a film. So I think it's been really fun, unique, challenging to a point where there have been days on this film where I've just sat with myself and said, okay, hang on a second, this, I did not see this coming. And obviously I can't really reveal very much because it would tell you too much about the story that I hope you will 29th of July. But
Yeah.
it's very rewarding, very interesting experience. And I hope that in the months to come and the days to come and the years to come, that there are plenty more roles with dark and gray shades, because I think it's the most human that all of us are. And I think that it would be silly not to be able to depict that being an actress. And I hope that more directors and producers write roles for women that also do that, because I think plenty of Hindi film actors have played the bad guy, but it's so much more fun to be the bad girl.
Right. I think it's interesting as well the way you've mentioned this because I think it's great that we're seeing such great representations of women in Indian cinema. So what do you think is good about this portrayal and how do you think it can be improved, perhaps in terms of how accurately dark female characters are written or presented in Indian cinema?
Um, so I feel like there's a certain amount of fear also from our end. It's not only from the directors and producers that they're not necessarily writing those roles. I think there has been and I know this only because I've had certain conversations with people that have reiterated this fear that some women do feel scared to play these roles. But I just, having played two negative or gray, whatever you'd like to call this, it's, I wouldn't even like to call it a challenge because I think it comes very easily to all of us as humans, not just as women or men. And I think it would be silly to guide and say, because we're women, we should be careful of how we're portraying ourselves, because I think gray shades are a part of all of us, whether we want to admit it or not. We all have bad days. We all have terrible sides to ourselves that I think, and it's 2022, it's high time we start talking about this and having a conversation about it rather than being afraid. So I think that in our films and in our OTT platforms as well, the shows that are coming on the OTT platforms as well, I think we've reached a stage in cinema and in web shows and in everything that we're putting out there, even on Instagram, where we're having very real and open and honest conversations about everything from our bodies to our skin to our hormones to, I mean, if you can talk about that, then why can't you play a bad guy if you're a woman? I just, for very baffling. I think it's high time we stop having these prejudices and these ridiculous biases. I think we're becoming a very progressive audience, and I think it's high time we just let go of these past prejudices and move on.
Right, agreed. But you began with very pristine roles on Disney Channel India, and I think it's very fascinating to see how even Incident of the Year too, you had a bit of a gray role. It wasn't a typical heroine, whose hair was waving in the air and a rich garib, as I'd like to call the students. It was a very, very gray in essence as well. So have you ever, I guess, feared the thought of, getting bracketed into such style of, Chalu roles, as I told Nusrat as well, Nusrat Barucha about the same thing. So have you ever been feared about getting stereotyped into playing gray roles only and all of that?
No, I mean, I haven't been so far, and I don't think, I don't know who to credit for that, whether it's the media or the audiences or the way I'm portraying them. I don't really know. I do recall after I did Tadap, and rightly so. I mean, my role was, I mean, she was horrible. She was nasty. She was a piece of work. So I'm very glad that I was hated for that, because that just means that I think I did my job pretty well, and I was very happy to be hated. I wanted to hate me after I watched the film, and I did, and I was like, oh my god, this person is insane. But
Right.
it's just so much more fun. I mean, I'm a Scorpio, and I feel like, if I don't know if you know a lot of Scorpios and their sun signs, I don't know if you believe in that sort of thing, but I feel like we're a very apart from being sensitive and passionate, we're relatively dark people, to be honest with
Oh,
you.
wow.
So like that kind of dark stories, or anything to do with a little bit that goes very deep into something, really attracts me as a person. So I think for me, contrary to what people may perceive me to be, I think that is something that I'm very, very attracted to and drawn to, whether it's been in Tadap, whether it's been in Ek Villain Returns, or even my next film, Apurva, which we just announced yesterday.
Oh,
It's
wow. Yeah.
the kind of space that I'm really excited to be a part of.
Oh, brilliant. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to come on to that actually just in a bit. You know, the first film was lauded for its portrayal of darkness within strata of society. You know, it was a very dark
Yeah.
essence. You know, it showed different people and how they were villains. How do you layered do you feel Ek Villain Returns has turned out actually in terms of the different layers of society and the way it portrays that?
So without divulging too much, I'll tell you that all four of our characters, John's, Disha's, Arjun's, and mine, we all come from different stratas of society. I think the way Mohit creates his sort of his own universe in each film that he's made, it's very cleverly depicted. It's very understated, very real. In comparison to a lot of films that we make that can be very over the top and very overtly commercial, I would say. Mohit has his own style of letting you know something without really shouting it out on the roofs.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really appreciate that in him. He's also somebody who's very clear on what he wants. So I think just by certain mannerisms, certain things that are said, and our job descriptions in the film, when you watch it, you'll probably know what I mean. You can understand where we're coming from and why we do what we do and why we say what we say. So I think he's very cleverly created this world in the second part of in our sequel, basically, where you can see, and it's sort of it's not justifying what anybody's doing, where we come from, justify what we do, but it does play a huge role in what we're doing and what we're saying.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's definitely left me guessing, and I'm very curious to see now how it all
Very,
turns out. So you're doing your job well, I must say. But look, villains and heroes are subjective, and I think it's quite intriguing how we can be the villain or hero in someone's life. If you could describe a moment in your life where circumstances were the villain, or maybe you might have been a villain in someone's life, how did you overcome that? How did you deal with that particular circumstance?
um so I'll be honest with you, through our promotions we've been asked this question a lot, and when we began promoting, no, but I'll tell you honestly, I'll tell you something honestly. Most of us didn't know the answer to this question as recently as 3 or 4 days ago, and I've been giving it a lot of thought, because naturally we have about 10 days left till our film releases, and I know that this is a question that a lot of people want to know the answer to. I can't really think of a villain in my life, but if I do think about something that has affected me, like a villain would affect me, I would say that it was very hard for me growing up, because I was bullied a lot when I was in school and when I was in college, and that was something that because of the nature of how I'm built, I guess I'm a bit of I used to be more of an introvert than I am today, but I didn't have an outlet to talk about it. I didn't know what to do about it, and I was very hypersensitive as a child. I am very lucky to have a twin sister that is she's my rock, and she's my biggest support system, and my family, my parents as well, but mostly her. So because she's a twin and and we're twins, she was always in the classroom next to me. So she would hear whatever was happening with me and my life. And she would always come and genuinely protect me in I think, the best way I've been protected all my life. And so I think that was something that till today has really, really affected me when I have to, even today in the industry, when you have to go to a film party or you have to meet a lot of people, it's something I immediately go into my shell and I feel like, what if I'll be attacked, or what if someone will bully me? And it's something that, these things stay with you throughout your life, I think. So I think if I can think of a villain in my life, it was those bullies in school and college. And I feel like if anybody's watching this or listening to this, it will, if you are being bullied, I promise you, stand up for yourself in the best way that you know, and be there for yourself, be your own rock as much as you can. And it's a passing phase, it will go. Don't let it control your life.
Bless you. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I've been bullied as well, so I know exactly how it feels. So more power to you for feeling that. Yeah, and I'm really sorry this happened to you. But look, Tara, we're running out of time. I've got two big questions actually to conclude, and so apologies. But number one is, being an actor of today's generation, dealing with social media has become a new necessity nowadays. So how do you deal with trolling and cyber villains per se? And also, before you go, could you please sing a few lines of Shamat, because I'm in love with that song. I heard it yesterday and I'm in love with it. So please, if you could do that as well.
Two things. One is I've been singing and screaming on stage and greeting people all the time for the last few days. So my voice is, so I might sound a bit like a toad or a frog or whatever, but that's one. And what was the other thing?
About dealing with cyber villains and trolling.
Cyber villains, as you said, that's a good plug-in. I'll remember that. Well, to be honest with you, I have been very lucky since my debut. I have not been trolled as much as I see a lot of my colleagues being trolled. I think, God, it's like I said, it's 2022, and if we're still projecting our insecurities and seeking validation in that form and on social media, I think I feel sorry for the people that are doing it, and I feel like, God, I hope some kind of they reach some kind of stage in their lives where they realize how ridiculous it is to make other people feel small in order to make yourself feel better and bigger. Having dealt with being bullied for a large part of my life, I do not subscribe to that at all. And I have friends in the industry that have started initiatives to help with bullying and cybercrime and things like that. So more power to them. I recently was walking out of a store and I was very, very unwell, and I was running out so that no one would see how unwell and tired I was looking. And I got photographed and I got very badly trolled very recently.
Sorry about that.
Walk. It was hilarious because I got trolled for how funnily I walked. Now, I just want everyone to know, I know I walk very funnily. I look like a duck that's waddling, and I'm very proud of it, and I'm very happy. So I start with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
But I know it's not so easy for a lot of other people. But if you can have a laugh when you're being trolled, then there's nothing like it. And oh God, you want me to sing Shamat?
Please, please, please. I'm in love with it.
3 lines. And if I sound like really bad, then sorry, guys.
You're gonna sound amazing. Don't worry. I have faith in you.
Okay, here goes. दिन का चैन रातों की नींदें चुराई है, लगता है दिल तेरी शामत आई है.
Oh, I love that. It's a very Mohit Suri song. I really like it. Like, it's very his style, and you sang it very beautifully. And look, I think on a parting note as well, Tara, I just wanted to say, look, life is tough, and you've always, thank you so much for sharing some of these very vulnerable moments with us and how you've overcome that, because I think it's going to be such an inspiration to so many people watching this. So I just want to say that I'm glad that you always gave a very good hazard jawab to all your villains, and I think we can all take a leaf out of that, and wishing you all the very best in everything you do in life. You're very talented, and I'm sure it's going to go a long way. So thank you so much for joining me on Filme Shilmy.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye, Tara. Bye-bye.